The Faithfulness of Daniel, an overview of Chapter 1. The Book of Daniel is a fascinating book that contains some of the most inspiring stories in the Bible. And one of the most well-known stories is found in Chapter 1. Chapter 1 takes place during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, who conquered Jerusalem and took many of the Israelites captive. Among them were 4 young men: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. These 4 young men were brought into the king's palace and were given new Babylonian names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were also selected to be trained as officials in the king's court. As part of their training, they were given a portion of the king's food and wine. However, Daniel and his friends refused to eat the king's food and wine because it was likely offered to idols and against Jewish dietary laws. Daniel proposed that they be allowed to eat only vegetables and drink water for 10 days to prove that they would be just as healthy as the other trainees. The official in charge of them agreed to this request, and after 10 days, Daniel and his friends were found to be healthier and better nourished than the others who ate the king's food. The official then allowed them to continue eating according to their customs, and God granted them favor and wisdom. They excelled in their training and eventually served in the Babylonian court. So what can we learn from Chapter 1 of Daniel? Firstly, we see the faithfulness of Daniel and his friends. They were willing to stand up for their beliefs and refuse the king's food and wine, even if it meant risking their position in the court. Secondly, we see the importance of wise choices. Daniel and his friends made a wise choice to eat only vegetables and drink water, and God blessed them for their faithfulness. Thirdly, we see God's favor and provision. Despite being in a foreign land and facing many challenges, God granted Daniel and his friends favor and wisdom, and they were able to excel in their training and serve in the king's court. Finally, we see the sovereignty of God. Even though the Israelites were taken captive by the Babylonians, God was still in control and had a plan for their lives. He used Daniel and his friends to be a witness to the Babylonians and to serve as a reminder of God's faithfulness to his people. In conclusion, Chapter 1 of the book of Daniel teaches us about faithfulness, wise choices, God's favor and provision, and the sovereignty of God. May we be inspired by the example of Daniel and his friends, and may we trust in God's faithfulness and guidance in our own lives.